Hello there, gentle stargazers, and welcome back to another peaceful journey with your sleepy long scientist. Tonight, as you settle into your cozy blankets and let the day's worries quietly fade away, we're going to explore one of humanity's most breathtaking mysteries: how our ancient ancestors built monuments so precisely aligned with the stars that they seem to whisper secrets from the cosmos itself. Imagine standing before the Great Pyramid on a clear desert night, looking up at the same constellation of Orion that guided its builders over 4,000 years ago, and feeling the profound connection between Earth and sky that inspired these incredible achievements. These aren't just impressive piles of stone, they're cosmic calendars, stellar maps, and bridges between the human spirit and the infinite universe above. So if you haven't already, gently tap that subscribe button, and let's drift together into this starlit mystery of how pyramids align perfectly with the stars. You know that feeling when you step outside on a perfectly clear night, far from the glow of city lights, and suddenly find yourself face to face with a sky absolutely blazing with stars? In that moment, something deep inside you seems to remember an ancient connection, as if your soul recognizes this celestial tapestry that has watched over humanity since the very beginning. Maybe you've stood before one of the Great Pyramids, feeling small yet somehow significant in the shadow of these massive monuments, wondering how people thousands of years ago could have built something so precise, so enduring, so mysteriously beautiful that it still takes your breath away today. What's truly remarkable is that these aren't just impressive ancient buildings, they're sophisticated astronomical instruments built by people who understood the cosmos in ways that make our modern achievements seem almost humble by comparison. Without computers, satellites, or advanced telescopes, our ancestors created monuments aligned with star positions so precisely that modern astronomers are still discovering new celestial connections encoded in stone. They looked up at the same night sky you see tonight and somehow captured its eternal dance in architecture that has survived longer than most civilizations. Tonight, as we gently explore this cosmic mystery together, we'll discover how these ancient builders read the language of the stars and transformed that celestial knowledge into monuments that continue to whisper their secrets across thousands of years. We'll uncover why the connection between earth and sky meant so much to our ancestors that they devoted generations to preserving it in the most enduring way imaginable, through stones that point forever toward the stars. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine stepping back in time to a world without electric lights, without the gentle glow of street lamps or the constant hum of modern technology. Picture yourself in ancient Egypt, where the moment the sun disappeared beyond the horizon, the entire universe opened up above you like the most magnificent theatre imaginable. The night sky wasn't just something you glimpsed between buildings or caught brief glimpses of through windows. It was a vast, brilliant canopy that dominated every evening, so bright and clear that you could read by starlight alone, so detailed that every constellation told stories your ancestors had been sharing for countless generations. For our ancient ancestors, the night sky was their television, their internet, their GPS system, and their calendar all rolled into one spectacular display that never failed to appear each evening. They didn't see the stars as distant, unreachable points of light, but as intimate companions that guided every aspect of their daily lives. The rising of certain constellations told them when to plant their crops, when the Nile would flood and bring life to their fields, when to prepare for the changing seasons that determined whether their civilization would thrive or struggle. These weren't abstract scientific observations. They were matters of life and death, prosperity and famine, embedded in the most beautiful light show nature could provide. The ancient Egyptians watched the stars with the kind of attention we might give to our closest friends, noting every subtle change, every predictable pattern, every meaningful relationship between different celestial bodies. They observed how Orion rose in the east just before dawn at certain times of year, how the brightest star, Sirius, appeared to dance with the sun in a cosmic choreography that lasted exactly 365 days, how the pole star remained steady while all the other stars wheeled around it in perfect circles that mark the passage of hours, seasons, and years. What we now call the constellation Orion, they knew as Osiris, the god of death and rebirth, whose appearance in the pre-dawn sky signaled the annual flooding of the Nile that brought life to their desert civilization. The Milky Way, that faint river of light we can barely see from our light-polluted cities, blazed across their sky like a celestial version of their beloved Nile River, so bright and clear that they could see individual star clusters within it, mapping its course as carefully as any earthly geography. They understood that this cosmic river, like their earthly one, brought life and renewal, connecting the heavens and earth in an eternal cycle of death and rebirth. Their astronomical observations weren't just casual stargazing. They were sophisticated scientific endeavours that required generations of careful record-keeping, mathematical precision, and deep understanding of celestial mechanics that we're only now beginning to fully appreciate. Temple priests spent lifetimes tracking the movements of planets, noting how Venus appeared as both morning and evening star, how Mars occasionally moved backward against the stellar background, how the moon's phases connected to human cycles and agricultural rhythms in ways both practical and mystical. The ancient skywatchers discovered that the stars weren't fixed in permanent positions, but slowly drifted over centuries in a vast cycle that took 26,000 years to complete. This precession of the equinoxes meant that the pole star changed over time, that constellation positions shifted gradually across generations, and that their monuments needed to account for these cosmic changes if they were to remain aligned with their chosen stars across the millennia. The fact that they understood and compensated for this incredibly slow celestial drift demonstrates an astronomical sophistication that rivals our modern knowledge. They also recognized that certain stars and constellations had personalities and purposes that connected to human experience in profound ways. The circumpolar stars that never set below the horizon represented eternal life and immortality, making them perfect guides for souls journeying to the afterlife. The heliacal rising of stars, their first appearance in the dawn sky after a period of invisibility, marked sacred moments that required ritual observance and careful attention. Even the planets, those wandering stars that followed their own mysterious paths across the celestial sphere, were understood as divine messengers carrying important information about earthly affairs. This intimate relationship with the night sky wasn't limited to priests and scholars. It was woven into the fabric of everyday life for everyone in ancient civilization. Farmers knew which stars signaled planting time. Travellers navigated by stellar landmarks. Lovers met under specific constellation configurations. And children learned star patterns the way modern children might learn nursery rhymes. The sky was alive, personal, and meaningful in ways that our modern, indoor, artificially lit world has largely forgotten. As we drift deeper into understanding how this profound astronomical knowledge became encoded in stone monuments that still speak to us today, we'll discover the remarkable people who transformed their love affair with the stars into some of humanity's most enduring architectural achievements. In the gentle flow of the Nile River Valley, during what historians call the Old Kingdom period some 4,500 years ago, there lived a civilization so remarkable that their achievements still leave us speechless with wonder today. These weren't primitive people struggling with basic survival. They were sophisticated thinkers, skilled engineers, brilliant mathematicians, and deeply spiritual beings who understood themselves to be part of something infinitely larger than their individual lives. The pharaohs who commissioned these incredible monuments weren't just earthly rulers, but divine intermediaries who carried the sacred responsibility of maintaining the cosmic balance between heaven and earth, ensuring that the eternal dance of the stars remained connected to human civilization in the most profound ways imaginable. The pharaoh Khufu, whose name has echoed across millennia, wasn't simply a powerful king building an impressive tomb for his own glorification. He was understood by his people to be a living god, a bridge between the mortal world and the eternal realm of the stars, someone whose very existence maintained the harmony between earthly and celestial realms. When he decided to build what we now call the Great Pyramid, he was creating far more than a burial monument. He was constructing a cosmic machine designed to facilitate his transformation from earthly ruler to stellar deity, a precisely engineered gateway that would allow his soul to journey to the stars and join the eternal dance of the gods. But Khufu couldn't have created this miracle alone. Behind every pharaoh stood an entire civilization of master craftsmen, brilliant architects, skilled astronomers, and thousands upon thousands of dedicated workers who understood that they were participating in something sacred and eternal. The architects who designed these monuments weren't just building impressive structures, they were encoding cosmic knowledge into stone, creating three-dimensional textbooks of astronomy that would preserve their civilization's understanding of the universe for future generations. These master builders combined practical engineering skills with deep spiritual wisdom, mathematical precision with artistic beauty, creating monuments that satisfied both earthly needs and celestial requirements. The workers who carved and moved these massive stones weren't slaves labouring under harsh conditions, as Hollywood movies might suggest, but skilled craftsmen, farmers during flood season, and devoted citizens who considered it an honour to participate in such a sacred project. Recent archaeological discoveries have revealed that these workers were well fed, given medical care, and treated with respect befitting their important role in creating something that would connect their civilization to eternity itself. They lived in purpose-built villages with bakeries, breweries, and medical facilities, suggesting that pyramid construction was a community effort that brought together the best talents and resources of the entire kingdom. Among these remarkable people were the priest astronomers, perhaps the most crucial figures in the entire pyramid-building enterprise. These learned individuals spent decades studying the night sky, tracking stellar movements with incredible precision, calculating the exact angles and alignments necessary to connect earthly architecture with celestial patterns. They understood mathematics that wouldn't be rediscovered by European scholars for thousands of years, astronomical principles that required sophisticated observation and calculation, and spiritual concepts that viewed the cosmos as a living sacred system in which human beings played a meaningful role. The quarry masters who selected and extracted the stones understood geology in ways that allowed them to choose blocks that would remain stable for millennia. The engineers who designed the internal chambers and passages created spaces that would channel cosmic energies and stellar alignments with millimeter precision. The artists who carved hieroglyphs and decorative elements weren't just making things beautiful. They were encoding sacred knowledge, stellar maps, and spiritual instructions that would guide the pharaoh's soul on its journey to the stars. Even the administrators and organisers who coordinated this massive undertaking were participating in something that transcended ordinary construction projects. They were managing a spiritual enterprise that required perfect timing with celestial events, precise coordination of thousands of workers, and the integration of multiple specialised knowledge systems into a single, unified creation. The logistics alone, feeding and housing tens of thousands of people, transporting massive stone blocks across great distances, maintaining quality control on a project that needed to last forever, represented organisational skills that would challenge even modern project managers. What makes these ancient builders even more remarkable is that they weren't working with modern tools, machines, or mathematical systems. They achieved their incredible precision using copper tools, wooden ramps, rope and pulleys, and mathematical knowledge based on practical geometry rather than abstract theory. Yet somehow, they created monuments aligned with stellar positions to within fractions of degrees, incorporated complex mathematical constants into their proportions, and built structures so precisely engineered that they've remained stable through earthquakes, floods, sandstorms, and the passage of nearly 5,000 years. As we continue our peaceful exploration of these cosmic monuments, we'll discover the sacred mathematical principles that guided these master builders and how they encoded the language of the universe itself into the stones that still speak to us across the centuries. There exists a beautiful, invisible language that speaks through the petals of flowers, the spiral of seashells, the proportions of your own body, and the orbital patterns of planets around distant stars. This is the gentle language of sacred geometry, where mathematical relationships become bridges between the physical and spiritual worlds, where numbers transform from abstract concepts into living expressions of cosmic harmony. The ancient pyramid builders discovered that this same mathematical language that governs the growth of plants and the movements of celestial bodies could be captured in stone, creating monuments that literally speak the fundamental vocabulary of the universe itself. When you stand before the Great Pyramid and feel that inexplicable sense of harmony and rightness, you're actually experiencing mathematical relationships that your mind recognizes at a level deeper than conscious thought. The pyramid's proportions embody what mathematicians call the golden ratio, that magical number approximately equal to 1.618 that appears everywhere in nature, from the spiraling chambers of nautilus shells to the branching patterns of trees, from the proportions of human faces that we find most beautiful to the orbital relationships between planets in our solar system. The ancient builders didn't just randomly choose pleasing proportions for their monuments. They were encoding cosmic constants that connect earthly architecture to universal principles. The relationship between the Great Pyramid's height and the perimeter of its base perfectly expresses the mathematical constant pi, that mysterious number that describes the relationship between circles and straight lines. This means that every time you walk around the pyramid's base, you're tracing a path that mathematically relates to the cosmic cycles, the circular movements of planets and stars, the eternal dance of celestial bodies that the ancient Egyptians understood as the heartbeat of creation itself. They somehow knew that pi wasn't just an abstract mathematical concept, but a fundamental principle that governs everything from the shape of raindrops to the structure of galaxies. The angles built into pyramid passages and chambers weren't chosen arbitrarily, but calculated to align with specific stellar positions, while also embodying mathematical relationships that ancient wisdom traditions considered sacred. The slope angle of the Great Pyramid, approximately 51.8 degrees, creates proportions that naturally incorporate both the golden ratio and pi, demonstrating that the builders understood mathematical principles as expressions of divine order rather than mere practical tools. These weren't just impressive engineering achievements, they were three-dimensional prayers written in the language of numbers, stone sermons that proclaim the mathematical harmony underlying all existence. The internal chambers of the pyramids reveal even more sophisticated mathematical relationships. The dimensions of the king's chamber in the Great Pyramid create proportional relationships that mirror the musical intervals that sound most harmonious to human ears. The same mathematical ratios that govern the frequencies of musical notes also govern the spatial relationships within this sacred space. This suggests that the ancient builders understood sound, light, space, and cosmic movement as different expressions of the same fundamental mathematical principles, all following patterns that could be captured and preserved in stone architecture. The positioning of the three Giza pyramids demonstrates mathematical knowledge that goes beyond individual monument construction to embrace landscape-scale geometric principles. The distances between the pyramids, their relative heights, and their orientations create triangular relationships that mirror not only the constellation of Orion's belt, but also sophisticated geometric principles that wouldn't be formally recognized by Western mathematics for thousands of years. They were essentially creating a massive geometric diagram on the Earth's surface, using monuments weighing millions of tons as points and lines in cosmic calculations. Even more mysteriously, recent measurements have revealed that pyramid dimensions incorporate mathematical constants that relate to the Earth's own proportions. The relationship between the pyramid's height and base perimeter mirrors the relationship between the Earth's radius and circumference. This suggests that the ancient builders possessed incredibly sophisticated knowledge about the size and shape of our planet, understanding geographical measurements that wouldn't be officially calculated by modern science until much more recent centuries. They somehow knew that their local monuments needed to harmonize not just with stellar patterns, but with the mathematical properties of the Earth itself. The precision required to achieve these mathematical relationships while simultaneously aligning with stellar positions demonstrates a level of integrated knowledge that challenges our assumptions about ancient capabilities. These builders weren't just skilled in one area, they were masters of astronomy, mathematics, engineering, and spiritual wisdom, all combined into a unified understanding that treated the cosmos as a single, interconnected system governed by mathematical harmony. They understood that the same numerical relationships that describe stellar orbits also govern earthly proportions, that cosmic patterns could be captured in stone, and that human creativity could participate in the mathematical symphony that orchestrates all existence. This mathematical precision wasn't an end in itself, but a means of creating monuments that would remain forever attuned to cosmic rhythms, structures that would continue to resonate with celestial patterns across thousands of years. They were building not just for their own time, but for eternity, encoding mathematical relationships that would remain true as long as stars continue to shine and planets continue their ancient dance around the sun. As we drift deeper into understanding these cosmic monuments, we'll explore the specific stellar alignments that transform mathematical precision into windows opening toward the infinite expanse of space, where human souls might journey among the stars themselves. Deep within the heart of the Great Pyramid, in a chamber that has remained hidden in darkness for over 4,000 years, there exists one of the most beautiful secrets ever encoded in stone. If you could somehow shrink yourself down and crawl through the narrow passage that leads from the king's chamber following a shaft that angles upward through solid limestone blocks, you would eventually emerge under the open desert sky, your eyes aligned perfectly with a constellation that ancient Egyptians knew as the soul of their most beloved god. This isn't coincidence or approximate alignment. It's precision so exact that modern astronomers using sophisticated instruments can barely improve upon the accuracy achieved by ancient builders working with simple tools and profound wisdom. The shaft that extends from the king's chamber points with laser-like precision toward the constellation we call Orion, specifically toward the star Al-Nitak in Orion's belt. But to understand why this alignment was so important to the pyramid builders, we need to see Orion through ancient Egyptian eyes, where this brilliant constellation represented far more than just a pretty pattern in the night sky. To them, Orion was Osiris, the god of death and rebirth, the divine being who had conquered death itself and become lord of the eternal realm where souls journey after leaving their earthly bodies behind. When they aligned the pyramid's passage with Orion's heart, they were creating a cosmic highway that would guide the pharaoh's soul directly to the throne of the god who ruled over death and resurrection. The timing of this alignment reveals even deeper layers of meaning and sophisticated astronomical knowledge. The shaft points to Orion, not just at any random moment, but specifically when the constellation reaches its highest point in the southern sky, what astronomers call its culmination. This celestial moment, occurring around midnight during winter months, was when Orion appeared most brilliant and powerful, suspended directly overhead like a cosmic crown jewel. The ancient builders understood that this was the optimal time for the pharaoh's soul to begin its journey to the stars, when the celestial doorway stood wide open and the pathway to immortality blazed brightest in the darkness. But the pyramid's connection to Orion goes even deeper than a single aligned shaft. The entire internal architecture of the Great Pyramid seems designed to channel and focus cosmic energies associated with this constellation. The ascending passage that leads to the king's chamber climbs at an angle that mirrors the rising trajectory of Orion as it appears in the eastern sky, as if the pyramid's interior geometry recreates the celestial motion of the constellation itself. Walking through these passages becomes a symbolic journey that parallels the soul's ascent to the stars, with each step taking the traveller higher, both literally and spiritually toward divine transformation. The precision of this alignment becomes even more remarkable when we consider the challenge of achieving such accuracy through solid stone construction. The builders had to calculate not only the exact angle required to point toward Orion's position in their own time, but also account for the slow drift of stellar positions caused by the Earth's axial precession. This means they understood that star positions change gradually over centuries and millennia, and they built their monument to remain aligned with Orion not just for their own generation, but for thousands of years into the future. This level of astronomical sophistication suggests knowledge systems that rival modern understanding of celestial mechanics. The choice of Orion as the pyramid's stellar focus reflects profound spiritual beliefs about the nature of death, rebirth, and cosmic connection. In Egyptian mythology, Osiris was murdered and dismembered, then reassembled and resurrected through divine magic, becoming the ruler of the afterlife and the guide for all souls seeking eternal life. By aligning their most important monument with Osiris's celestial form, the pyramid builders were creating a permanent connection between earthly death and stellar resurrection, ensuring that the pharaoh's soul would find its way to the constellation where eternal life awaited. The star Al-Nitak, the specific target of the pyramid's alignment, is itself a fascinating celestial object, a massive, brilliant star approximately 800 light-years from Earth, shining with the light of thousands of our own sun. Ancient peoples couldn't have known these technical details, but they recognized Al-Nitak as one of the most important stars in Orion's belt, the central jewel in the cosmic crown of their beloved god. The fact that this star's light, which left its source during the height of ancient Egyptian civilization, is still traveling through space toward Earth today, creates a poetic connection between ancient builders and modern stargazers who look up at the same celestial beacon. Recent computer simulations that recreate the night sky as it appeared during pyramid construction times confirm that the alignment was indeed perfect for its era, demonstrating that ancient astronomers possessed observational skills and mathematical knowledge that allowed them to achieve precision that modern engineers would find challenging even with contemporary tools and technology. As we continue our peaceful journey through these cosmic mysteries, we'll discover how the Great Pyramid was just one part of a larger celestial plan, where multiple monuments work together to create a complete mirror of heaven right here on Earth. And when you stand at the perfect vantage point on the Giza Plateau and look at all three pyramids together, something magical happens that goes far beyond admiring individual monuments. What appears before you is nothing less than a terrestrial recreation of one of the most beloved and recognizable star patterns in the night sky, the three bright stars of Orion's belt, known to ancient Egyptians as the jewels adorning the celestial body of their god Osiris. The builders didn't just construct three separate pyramids, they created a unified cosmic map where massive stone monuments mirror the exact positions, relative brightness, and even the slight angular offset of the stars they represent, transforming an entire landscape into a three-dimensional star chart that connects Earth directly to heaven. The correspondence between the pyramids and Orion's belt is so precise that it takes your breath away when you first understand what you're seeing. The Great Pyramid of Khufu represents Alnitak, the brightest star on the left side of Orion's belt. The middle pyramid of Khafra corresponds to Alnilam, the central star. The smaller pyramid of Menkaure mirrors Mintaka, the rightmost star which appears slightly dimmer and offset from the perfect line created by its two companions. Even more remarkably, the relative sizes of the pyramids match the relative brightness of their corresponding stars, with the Great Pyramid being the largest just as Alnitak is the brightest, while Menkaure's pyramid is the smallest just as Mintaka appears the dimmest from Earth. But this celestial mirror goes beyond just the pyramids themselves to encompass the entire sacred landscape of Giza. The Great Sphinx, that enigmatic guardian with the body of a lion and the face of a pharaoh, sits positioned to gaze eternally eastward toward the point on the horizon where certain stars rise at specific times of year. During the spring equinox around 2500 BCE, when the pyramids were nearing completion, the Sphinx would have been looking directly toward the constellation Leo rising in the pre-dawn sky, creating a cosmic connection where the earthly lion mirrored its celestial counterpart. This wasn't mere decoration or architectural flourish. It was profound astronomical symbolism that connected the earthly monument to cosmic cycles of renewal and rebirth. The Nile River flowing beside the Giza complex serves as the terrestrial counterpart to the Milky Way, that faint river of stars that flows across the night sky like cosmic water, carrying the light of billions of distant suns. Ancient Egyptians understood this connection between earthly and celestial waters, recognizing that just as the Nile brought life to their desert civilization through its annual flooding, the Milky Way carried souls to their eternal destinations among the stars. The positioning of the pyramids relative to the Nile recreates the relationship between Orion's belt and the Milky Way as they appear in the night sky, making the entire Giza Plateau a massive three-dimensional map of the most important region of heaven. The genius of this terrestrial star map becomes even more apparent when you consider the challenges the ancient builders faced in achieving such precision across such a vast scale. Creating accurate stellar positions using individual monuments required not only perfect astronomical observations, but also sophisticated surveying techniques that could maintain accuracy across distances of several kilometers. They had to account for the curvature of the Earth, the varying elevations of the plateau, and the complex logistics of constructing multiple massive monuments simultaneously, while ensuring that their relative positions remained true to their celestial models. Even the internal architecture of the pyramids contributes to this cosmic mirroring, with passages and chambers oriented to channel stellar energies from their corresponding stars. The Great Pyramid's passages align not only with Orion, but also with other important stars and constellations, creating a complex network of celestial connections that transform the entire monument into a sophisticated astronomical instrument. The pyramid complex functions like a giant cosmic receiver, designed to capture and focus stellar influences that ancient wisdom traditions believed could facilitate spiritual transformation and divine communication. The seasonal timing of stellar alignments adds another layer of meaning to this earthly mirror of heaven. Different times of year bring different stellar configurations into optimal positions relative to the pyramids, creating a cosmic calendar that marks important religious festivals, agricultural cycles, and ceremonial occasions. The The builders designed their earthly star map to remain synchronized with celestial movements throughout the year, ensuring that the connection between Earth and sky would continue functioning across countless generations. Recent archaeological discoveries have revealed that the Giza complex may have included additional structures, causeways, and monuments that further enhanced its role as a terrestrial star map. Traces of ancient roads and building foundations suggest that the entire plateau was conceived as a unified sacred landscape, where every element contributed to the overall cosmic design. This wasn't just impressive architecture, it was a massive spiritual technology designed to maintain permanent connection between human civilization and the divine realm of the stars. As we drift deeper into exploring these cosmic connections, we'll discover that Giza wasn't the only place where ancient builders created such sophisticated stellar monuments, and that pyramid complexes throughout Egypt reveal an even more extensive network of earthly mirrors reflecting the eternal patterns of heaven. While the magnificent pyramids of Giza capture most of our attention and wonder, they represent just one chapter in a much larger story of cosmic architecture that unfolds across the entire landscape of ancient Egypt. Like scattered jewels along the Nile River Valley, dozens of other pyramids rise from the desert sands, each one carefully positioned and precisely aligned to capture different aspects of the stellar dance that guided ancient Egyptian civilization. These monuments, built over centuries by different pharaohs and dynasties, reveal that the connection between earthly architecture and celestial patterns wasn't a single brilliant inspiration, but a sustained tradition of cosmic knowledge that shaped Egyptian building practices for over 1,000 years. At Saqqara, about 20 kilometers south of Giza, stands the Step Pyramid of Djoser, often considered the world's first monumental stone building and the prototype that inspired all pyramid construction that followed. This remarkable stepped structure, rising like a cosmic staircase toward the heavens, was aligned not with Orion but with other significant stars and constellations that held special meaning for its era. The pyramid's orientation captures the movement of circumpolar stars, those eternal celestial beings that never set below the horizon but wheel endlessly around the pole star, representing immortality and eternal life. The builders understood that by aligning their pharaoh's monument with these never-setting stars, they were ensuring his soul would join the imperishable ones, the celestial beings who live forever in the cosmic realm that knows no death or decay. The Red Pyramid at Dashur, built by Pharaoh Sneferu and considered the first successful true pyramid, reveals another layer of astronomical sophistication in its stellar alignments. Its passages point toward different stars than those captured by later pyramids, suggesting that pyramid builders continuously refined their cosmic knowledge and adapted their alignments to track the slow precession of stellar positions across generations. The Red Pyramid's unique angle and orientation connect it to the star Thuban, which served as the pole star during the early Pyramid Age, demonstrating that ancient astronomers understood how the Earth's slow wobble gradually shifts the position of the celestial pole across different stars over thousands of years. Perhaps most mysteriously, the bent pyramid, also built by Sneferu, displays an unusual change in angle halfway up its sides that has puzzled archaeologists for generations. Recent research suggests this distinctive bend might not have been an architectural mistake, but a deliberate design feature that creates alignments with multiple stellar targets simultaneously. The lower section points toward one set of stars, while the upper section aligns with different celestial objects, making the entire pyramid a complex astronomical instrument capable of tracking several stellar positions at once. This demonstrates a level of astronomical ambition that goes beyond simple star pointing to embrace multiple cosmic relationships within a single monument. The pyramid fields that stretch along the Nile reveal patterns that become apparent only when viewed from above or plotted on detailed maps. The positions of various pyramid complexes, when connected by imaginary lines, create geometric patterns that mirror star configurations visible in ancient Egyptian skies. Some researchers have identified terrestrial triangles formed by pyramid locations that correspond to important asterisms, distinctive star patterns that served as celestial landmarks for ancient astronomers. This suggests that the entire landscape of Pyramid Egypt was conceived as a massive star map, where individual monuments served as three-dimensional markers in a cosmic chart that spanned hundreds of kilometers. The Pyramid of Unas at Saqqara contains the earliest known pyramid texts, ancient religious writings carved into stone walls that describe the pharaoh's journey to the stars with remarkable astronomical detail. These sacred texts mention specific stars and constellations by name, describe stellar movements with precision that suggest careful observation, and provide instructions for navigating the celestial realm that reveal sophisticated understanding of star positions and cosmic geography. The texts treat the stars not as distant lights, but as accessible destinations where transformed souls can travel, suggesting that pyramid alignments weren't just symbolic, but served as actual launching points for spiritual journeys to stellar destinations. Even smaller, less famous pyramids reveal unique astronomical features that add to our understanding of ancient Egyptian cosmic knowledge. The Pyramid of Suhur contains passages aligned with the star Canopus, the second brightest star visible from Egypt, which played important roles in ancient navigation and calendar calculations. The Pyramid of Nefertari shows orientations that connect to the heliacal rising of Sirius, the brightest star in the night sky, whose annual reappearance marked the beginning of the Egyptian New Year and predicted the life-giving flood of the Nile River. What emerges from studying all these monuments together is a picture of ancient Egyptian civilization as fundamentally astronomical in its orientation, where spiritual beliefs, architectural practices and daily life were all synchronized with celestial cycles and stellar positions. Each pyramid complex represents not just a royal tomb, but a node in a vast network of cosmic connections that linked earthly Egypt to the eternal realm of the stars. As we continue our peaceful exploration of these stellar mysteries, we'll discover how these permanent astronomical alignments allowed ancient Egyptians to create monuments that function as cosmic calendars, marking the eternal cycles of time that govern both earthly seasons and spiritual transformations. Imagine the most beautiful silent orchestra in the world, where massive stone monuments serve as instruments that capture and mark the eternal music of time itself, played by the gentle movements of the sun, moon and stars across the vast stage of the sky. The ancient pyramid builders didn't just create impressive architectural achievements, they built cosmic timepieces that transformed the subtle, celestial choreography of seasonal change into visible, measurable events that connect human civilization to the grand rhythms that govern all life on Earth. These monuments function as calendars written in stone, sundials cast in shadows, and astronomical clocks that continue to mark cosmic time with the same precision they displayed over 4,000 years ago. The most breathtaking seasonal performances occur during the solstices and equinoxes, when the sun reaches its extreme positions in its annual journey across the sky. During the winter solstice, the shortest day of the year, sunlight penetrating the Great Pyramid's passages creates alignments that transform the interior chambers into illuminated cosmic theatres, where light and shadow dance together in choreography that happens only once each year. The sun's rays, travelling millions of miles through space, arrive at precisely the right angle to penetrate passage openings and illuminate specific stones, hieroglyphs, or chamber walls that remain in darkness throughout the rest of the year. These moments of illumination weren't accidents of construction, but carefully calculated events that marked the sun's annual death and rebirth, connecting the pyramid's spiritual purpose to the eternal cycle of renewal that governs all existence. The spring equinox brings its own magical display as the sun rises due east and sets due west, creating perfect balance between day and night that the ancients recognized as a moment of cosmic harmony. On this special day, the shadows cast by the pyramids create geometric patterns that reveal hidden mathematical relationships built into the monument's proportions. The Great Pyramid's shadow shrinks to nothing at solar noon during the equinox, a phenomenon that ancient astronomers used to calculate the Earth's circumference with remarkable accuracy, thousands of years before this achievement was officially credited to later mathematicians. The pyramid essentially becomes a massive gnomon, the pointer of a sundial that measures not just the hours of a single day, but the grand movements of cosmic time across seasons and years. The summer solstice creates perhaps the most spectacular shadow performance when the sun reaches its highest point in the northern sky and the pyramids cast their shortest shadows of the entire year. On this longest day, specific passages and chambers within the pyramids receive direct sunlight that penetrates depths that remain dark throughout the rest of the year, illuminating sacred spaces where ancient rituals connected earthly ceremonies to celestial events. The builders designed these solar penetrations to occur at moments when specific stars also reach optimal positions, creating combinations of solar and stellar alignments that happen only once each year, transforming the pyramids into cosmic theatres where multiple celestial performers coordinate their movements in perfect timing. But the pyramids mark more than just solar seasons. They also track the more subtle rhythms of stellar time that unfold across much longer periods. The heliacal rising of Sirius, the brightest star in the night sky, occurs when this brilliant star first becomes visible in the pre-dawn eastern sky after a period of absence. This annual reappearance, which shifts gradually through the calendar over centuries due to precession, was so important to ancient Egyptians that they based their entire calendar system on Sirius cycles. Certain pyramid passages align with the rising point of Sirius, creating stellar calendars that track this cosmic event with precision that rivals modern astronomical instruments. The ancient builders understood that different stars have different seasonal personalities and purposes. Some constellations appear in summer skies, others dominate winter nights, and still others mark the transition periods of spring and autumn. By aligning various pyramid passages with different stellar rising and setting points, they created monuments that function as comprehensive astronomical almanacs, marking not just when specific stars appear, but also tracking their movements through seasonal cycles that repeat annually, while slowly shifting across longer periods measured in centuries and millennia. Even the moon's more rapid cycles find expression in pyramid astronomy, with certain alignments tracking lunar phases and the complex relationship between solar and lunar calendars that ancient civilizations needed to maintain agricultural and religious schedules. The pyramid builders understood that cosmic time operates on multiple scales simultaneously, from the daily rotation of the Earth to the 26,000-year precession cycle, and they encoded multiple time systems into their monuments so that future generations could read these stone calendars and maintain connection to cosmic rhythms even if other knowledge was lost. The agricultural seasons that sustained Egyptian civilization were intimately connected to these astronomical cycles, with star risings and solar alignments marking optimal times for planting, harvesting, and managing the annual Nile flood that brought life to the desert. The pyramids served as permanent reminders of these cosmic connections, ensuring that earthly activities remained synchronized with celestial rhythms that governed natural cycles of growth, death, and renewal. As we drift deeper into understanding these remarkable monuments, we'll explore the incredible precision required to achieve such sophisticated astronomical alignments, and discover how ancient builders accomplished feats of engineering accuracy that challenge even modern construction capabilities. When modern engineers examine the astronomical alignments built into the ancient pyramids, they often find themselves quietly humbled by the extraordinary precision achieved by builders working over 4,000 years ago without computers, laser levels, or satellite guidance systems. The accuracy of these stellar alignments is so remarkable that the margin of error often measures in fractions of degrees, precision that would be challenging to achieve even today with our most sophisticated instruments and mathematical software. To understand just how incredible this achievement was, imagine trying to aim a telescope the size of a city block at a star barely visible to the naked eye, and maintaining that perfect alignment for thousands of years while accounting for the slow drift of stellar positions across centuries. The foundation of this precision began with observation techniques that required patience, dedication, and mathematical skills that we're only now beginning to fully appreciate. Ancient Egyptian astronomers spent entire lifetimes tracking the movements of individual stars, noting their positions night after night, season after season, year after year, until they could predict stellar movements with accuracy that rivals modern star charts. They used simple but ingenious tools like the Merket, a straight rod with a plumb line that allowed them to sight stars and measure angles with remarkable precision. Teams of priest astronomers worked in shifts throughout the night, tracking star positions from specially built observation platforms where they could maintain unobstructed views of the entire sky dome. The surveying techniques required to translate these astronomical observations into precise pyramid alignments represent engineering achievements that boggle the modern mind. Working without magnetic compasses, which wouldn't be invented for thousands of years, the ancient builders used stellar observations to establish true north with accuracy that modern instruments struggle to improve upon. They understood that magnetic north and true north are different, and they chose to align their monuments with true astronomical directions rather than the more convenient but less accurate magnetic readings that many modern builders rely upon. Creating the internal passages that point towards specific stars required mathematical calculations that had to account for the pyramid's massive size, the precise angles needed to target distant stellar objects, and the gradual changes in star positions caused by the Earth's axial precession. The builders had to solve three-dimensional geometric problems that involved calculating sightlines through hundreds of feet of solid stone, ensuring that narrow passages would frame specific stars when viewed from internal chambers. These calculations required understanding of trigonometry, spherical astronomy, and engineering principles that wouldn't be formally taught in European universities for thousands of years. The precision extends beyond just pointing towards stars to include incredibly accurate incorporation of mathematical constants, like pi and the golden ratio into pyramid proportions. The fact that the Great Pyramid's dimensions encode pi to several decimal places suggests that the builders possessed mathematical knowledge that goes far beyond what would be required for simple construction purposes. They weren't just building impressive monuments, they were encoding cosmic mathematical principles into stone with precision that required understanding of abstract mathematical relationships that modern scholars often assume were unknown to ancient peoples. The logistics of maintaining alignment accuracy throughout the construction process represents another layer of engineering brilliance that's easy to overlook. As pyramid construction progressed over decades, builders had to ensure that each stone course remained perfectly aligned with the astronomical orientations established in the foundation. This required constant surveying, repeated astronomical observations to check alignment accuracy, and quality control systems that could detect and correct tiny errors before they accumulated into major problems. The fact that these massive monuments retain their precision after thousands of years demonstrates construction techniques and material choices that prioritized eternal accuracy over short-term convenience. Recent laser measurements and satellite surveys have confirmed that pyramid alignments remain accurate within tolerances that would be considered excellent, even by modern engineering standards. The Great Pyramid's orientation differs from true north by only about 3 arc minutes, an error so small that it might be explained by the gradual shift of true north caused by polar drift over the thousands of years since construction. The internal passages maintain their stellar alignments with similar precision, creating sightlines that still point toward their target stars with accuracy that suggest the builders possessed surveying instruments and mathematical techniques that we haven't fully reconstructed. The durability of these alignments reveals construction techniques that prioritized eternal stability over ease of building. The massive stone blocks were cut and fitted with tolerances measured in millimeters, creating joints so tight that even today you can barely slip a knife blade between stones. The builders chose limestone and granite that would resist weathering and maintain structural integrity across millennia, understanding that their astronomical alignments would be meaningless if the monuments themselves didn't survive to preserve the stellar connections they embodied. Perhaps most remarkably, the builders achieved this precision while working with tools that seem impossibly primitive by modern standards: copper chisels, wooden ramps, hemp ropes, and lever systems that multiplied human strength through clever mechanical advantage. They accomplished surveying accuracy that rivals laser instruments using nothing more sophisticated than plumb lines, measuring rods, and careful observation of stellar positions. As we continue our peaceful exploration of these cosmic monuments, we'll discover the profound spiritual beliefs that motivated such extraordinary precision, and understand why connecting Earth to stars meant so much to ancient peoples that they devoted generations to achieving perfect astronomical alignments. Beyond all the mathematical precision and engineering marvels, at the very heart of these stellar alignments lies something far more profound and beautiful than mere astronomical curiosity or architectural showmanship. The ancient pyramid builders were creating sacred technologies designed to facilitate one of humanity's most fundamental spiritual longings: the desire to transcend the limitations of mortal existence and join the eternal dance of divine consciousness that plays out among the stars. These monuments weren't just impressive tombs or cosmic calendars, but carefully engineered spiritual machines designed to transform human souls from earthly beings into stellar deities, creating permanent bridges between the realm of flesh and blood and the infinite expanse of cosmic consciousness. In the gentle wisdom of ancient Egyptian spirituality, death wasn't seen as an ending but as a transformation, a sacred metamorphosis where the soul sheds its earthly cocoon, and emerges as a luminous being capable of travelling freely through the cosmic realms. The stellar alignments built into the pyramid served as guidance systems for this ultimate journey, creating pathways of light and energy that would help the pharaoh's consciousness navigate from earthly existence to its eternal home among the imperishable stars. Just as migrating birds follow ancient flyways encoded in their genetic memory, the aligned soul could follow stellar highways that led directly to the constellation of Osiris, where divine resurrection and eternal life awaited. The choice of specific stars for pyramid alignments reflected deep spiritual understanding about the nature of cosmic consciousness and divine transformation. Orion, representing the god Osiris, wasn't just any constellation but the stellar embodiment of the deity who had conquered death itself, who had been murdered and dismembered only to be reassembled and resurrected through divine magic. By aligning their monuments with Orion's stars, the builders were connecting earthly death to cosmic rebirth, ensuring that the pharaoh's spiritual transformation would follow the same pattern of death and resurrection that Osiris had pioneered. The pyramid passages became cosmic birth canals through which souls could emerge into stellar existence, reborn as imperishable beings of light. The spiritual technology embedded in these alignments operated on principles that modern science is only beginning to understand. Ancient wisdom traditions recognized that consciousness itself might be fundamental to the universe, not merely a byproduct of complex brain chemistry, but a cosmic force that could exist independently of physical bodies. The stellar alignments were designed to create optimal conditions for consciousness transfer, using principles of resonance and cosmic harmony that would facilitate the soul's journey from earthly embodiment to stellar transcendence. The pyramids functioned as transmission stations, broadcasting earthly consciousness towards stellar receivers that could welcome and integrate human awareness into cosmic intelligence. The timing of stellar alignments added another layer of spiritual significance to the pyramid's function as resurrection machines. The moments when specific stars reached their highest points in the sky, when stellar energies were most concentrated and powerful, became windows of opportunity for spiritual transformation. Ancient priests understood that consciousness operates according to cosmic rhythms, that there are optimal times for birth, death, and rebirth that correspond to celestial events. The pyramid alignments ensured that the pharaoh's transformation would occur during these peak spiritual moments, when the barriers between earthly and cosmic consciousness were thinnest and most permeable. The internal chambers and passages of the pyramids were designed as sacred spaces where spiritual transformation could unfold according to cosmic principles. The king's chamber, aligned with Orion's brightest star, became a resurrection chamber, where earthly consciousness could be prepared for stellar translation. The queen's chamber, often aligned with different stars or constellation groups, might have served as a purification space where the soul underwent preliminary stages of cosmic preparation. Even the Grand Gallery, with its soaring ceiling and precise astronomical orientations, functioned as a spiritual launching pad where consciousness could begin its journey towards stellar destinations. The ancient understanding of stellar consciousness goes beyond individual transformation to embrace cosmic unity and divine participation. The pharaoh's journey to the stars wasn't seen as personal glorification, but as a sacred duty that maintained the connection between earthly civilization and cosmic divine order. By successfully completing the stellar transformation, the pharaoh became a permanent bridge between human and divine realms, a cosmic intermediary who could channel stellar wisdom back to earthly civilization. The pyramid alignments created permanent communication channels that would allow ongoing contact between earthly and stellar consciousness across generations. The spiritual purpose of these alignments also reflected profound understanding about the nature of time and eternity. While earthly existence unfolds in linear time with clear beginnings and endings, stellar consciousness operates in eternal time where past, present, and future merge into permanent now. The pyramid alignments were designed to connect earthly time to cosmic eternity, creating monuments that would maintain their spiritual function across thousands of years, ensuring that the connection between Earth and stars would remain available to future generations who might need guidance, inspiration, or direct contact with transformed consciousness. This spiritual technology wasn't limited to royal transformation, but represented principles that could guide any soul seeking to understand its cosmic nature and divine potential. The stellar alignments encoded in stone serve as permanent reminders that human consciousness is not trapped in earthly existence, but capable of cosmic participation and stellar transcendence. As we drift deeper into understanding these cosmic spiritual technologies, we'll discover how civilizations around the world developed similar practices of aligning earthly monuments with stellar destinations, suggesting universal human recognition of our fundamental connection to cosmic consciousness. As we gently drift across the globe on the wings of ancient wisdom, we discover something truly remarkable and beautiful about our shared human heritage. The same deep longing to connect earthly monuments with celestial patterns appears in civilizations separated by vast oceans, different languages, and thousands of years, suggesting that the impulse to align sacred architecture with stellar movements flows from something fundamental in the human spirit itself. From the misty jungles of Central America to the windswept plains of England, from the rice terraces of Southeast Asia to the desert landscapes of Peru, our ancestors looked up at the same stars we see tonight, and felt compelled to capture that cosmic beauty in stone monuments that still whisper their stellar secrets across the centuries. In the heart of the Mayan civilization, the magnificent pyramids of Chichen Itza, Tikal, and Palenque reveal astronomical alignments that rival the precision of their Egyptian counterparts, yet focus on different celestial objects that held special meaning for these skilled astronomers of the Americas. The Great Pyramid, known as El Castillo at Chichen Itza, creates one of the most spectacular stellar performances in the world during the spring and autumn equinoxes, when the play of light and shadow on its step sides creates the illusion of a giant serpent descending from heaven to earth. But beyond this famous solar alignment, Mayan pyramids point toward Venus, that brilliant morning and evening star that guided their sophisticated calendar calculations, and toward the constellation they knew as the Dark Rift in the Milky Way, a cosmic birth canal through which their mythology taught that souls emerged into existence. The ancient builders of Angkor Wat in Cambodia created perhaps the most ambitious stellar monument ever conceived, a vast temple complex that serves as a three-dimensional map of the Hindu cosmos, with spires and causeways positioned to mirror the constellation, Draco and other important star patterns that guided spiritual practice in Southeast Asian traditions. The entire complex functions as a massive astronomical clock that marks the precession of the equinoxes, tracking the slow 26,000-year cycle that shifts the positions of stars and seasons across deep time. Walking through Angkor Wat becomes a journey through cosmic geography, where every doorway, courtyard, and temple spire corresponds to specific stellar positions that connect earthly pilgrimage to celestial navigation. Even in the misty landscapes of ancient Britain, the mysterious monument of Stonehenge reveals sophisticated astronomical knowledge that connects Neolithic peoples to the same cosmic rhythms that inspired pyramid builders on other continents. The massive trilithons and bluestones create sight lines that frame the rising and setting points of the sun, moon, and significant stars, functioning as a Stone Age computer that could predict eclipses, track planetary movements, and mark the optimal times for agricultural and ceremonial activities. The builders of Stonehenge transported massive stones across hundreds of miles to create alignments that suggest astronomical knowledge comparable to the priest astronomers of ancient Egypt, demonstrating that stellar wisdom flourished in cultures that had no direct contact with Mediterranean civilizations. In the high Andes of Peru, the Inca civilization built Machu Picchu and other sacred sites, with astronomical alignments that connected their mountain temples to the brilliant star patterns visible from high-altitude locations where the air is thin and the stars shine with extraordinary clarity. The Inca tracked the Southern Cross, the Coalsack Nebula, and other celestial objects invisible from northern latitudes, creating stellar connections that guided their agricultural calendar and spiritual practices. Their stone astronomical instruments, like the Intihuatana at Machu Picchu, cast shadows that mark solar positions with precision that rivals modern sundials, while also incorporating alignments with stellar objects that held deep meaning in Andean cosmology. Native American medicine wheels scattered across the plains of North America reveal another expression of the universal human desire to connect earthly sacred space with stellar patterns. These circular stone arrangements, some dating back thousands of years, create sight lines that point toward the rising points of important stars like Aldebaran, Rigel, and Sirius, marking astronomical events that guided hunting, gathering, and ceremonial activities for indigenous peoples across the continent. The medicine wheels demonstrate that sophisticated astronomical knowledge wasn't limited to civilizations with monumental architecture, but flourished among peoples whose stellar wisdom was encoded in portable traditions that could travel with nomadic lifestyles. Perhaps most remarkably, the astronomical alignments found in monuments around the world often target the same stars and constellations that drew the attention of pyramid builders in Egypt. Orion, Sirius, the Pleiades, and the circumpolar stars appear again and again in the astronomical alignments of diverse cultures, suggesting that certain star patterns hold universal significance for human consciousness that transcends cultural boundaries. This global convergence on similar stellar targets implies that our ancestors recognized cosmic patterns and stellar relationships that spoke to fundamental aspects of human spirituality and cosmic understanding. The mathematical principles underlying these worldwide stellar alignments also show remarkable similarities, with golden ratio proportions, astronomical constants, and sophisticated geometric relationships appearing in monuments built by cultures that had no known contact with each other. This suggests that the mathematical language of cosmic harmony is truly universal, accessible to any civilization that develops sufficient astronomical observation and mathematical sophistication. As we continue our peaceful journey through these global expressions of stellar wisdom, we'll explore how civilizations around the world developed similar tools and techniques for reading the cosmic patterns that guided their monument alignments. There exists a beautiful silent music that plays throughout the universe, a cosmic symphony where numbers dance with stellar movements, where mathematical relationships create harmonies that resonate from the smallest atomic structures to the largest galactic spirals. The ancient builders who aligned their monuments with the stars weren't just creating impressive architectural achievements, they were learning to read this mathematical music of the cosmos, discovering that the same numerical patterns that govern planetary orbits also appear in the proportions of flowers, the rhythms of human heartbeats, and the geometric relationships that create the most pleasing architectural harmonies. In their stellar alignments, they found ways to capture and preserve these cosmic mathematical melodies in stone, creating monuments that continue to sing the ancient songs of universal proportion and celestial rhythm. The most fundamental mathematical pattern underlying all stellar alignments is the great cosmic cycle of precession, that slow, majestic wobble of the Earth's axis that takes approximately 26,000 years to complete one full rotation. This enormous cycle, barely perceptible within a human lifetime but clearly apparent across centuries, shifts the apparent positions of all stars in a gradual dance that ancient astronomers learned to track with remarkable precision. The pyramid builders understood that this vast mathematical pattern meant their stellar alignments would slowly drift over millennia, so they encoded multiple timescales into their monuments, some alignments perfect for their own era, others calculated to reach optimal positions hundreds or thousands of years in the future, creating architectural time capsules that would deliver their celestial messages to distant generations. Within this grand 26,000-year cycle, the ancient mathematicians discovered smaller patterns that repeat with clockwork precision. The relationship between solar years, lunar months, and stellar positions creates complex numerical sequences that appear again and again in pyramid measurements, chamber proportions, and passage angles. These aren't random coincidences, but evidence of deep mathematical understanding that recognize numerical relationships as fundamental properties of cosmic organization. The builders discovered that the same mathematical ratios that create beautiful musical harmonies also govern planetary movements, suggesting that the universe itself operates according to principles of mathematical beauty and proportional elegance. The golden ratio, that magical number approximately equal to 1.618 that appears throughout nature and art, weaves itself through stellar alignments in ways that reveal profound connections between earthly mathematics and cosmic geometry. Pyramid proportions that incorporate golden ratio relationships create monuments that feel harmonious and beautiful to human perception, while simultaneously achieving precise astronomical alignments, suggesting that the mathematical principles underlying aesthetic beauty are the same ones that govern celestial mechanics. This isn't mere coincidence, but evidence that human consciousness naturally resonates with the mathematical patterns that organize cosmic structure. The number pi, which describes the relationship between circles and straight lines, appears in stellar alignments because the apparent motion of stars traces circular paths across the sky as the Earth rotates. Ancient astronomers who tracked these stellar circles discovered that the same mathematical constant that governs earthly circles also determines the angular relationships needed to create precise star alignments. Pyramid builders encoded pi into their monument proportions not as abstract mathematical display, but as practical application of the circular mathematics that governs all astronomical observation and celestial navigation. Even more mysteriously, the Fibonacci sequence, that pattern of numbers where each term equals the sum of the two preceding terms, appears in stellar alignment calculations and monument proportions with frequency that suggests the ancient builders understood mathematical relationships that modern science is still exploring. The Fibonacci sequence describes growth patterns in plants, the spiral structures of galaxies, and the proportional relationships that create optimal efficiency in natural systems. Its appearance in stellar alignments hints that the mathematical principles governing biological growth and cosmic structure are fundamentally connected. The ancient builders also discovered numerical patterns related to human biology and consciousness that appear in their stellar alignments. The average human heartbeat, breathing rate, and brainwave frequencies correspond to mathematical relationships that also appear in astronomical cycles, suggesting deep connections between human physiology and cosmic rhythms. Some researchers have found that pyramid chamber dimensions create acoustic properties that resonate with human consciousness at frequencies that correspond to meditative states and enhanced awareness, implying that the mathematical patterns underlying stellar alignments might also facilitate altered states of consciousness that enhance spiritual and cosmic connection. The precision of these mathematical relationships in ancient monuments challenges conventional assumptions about the development of mathematical knowledge in human civilization. The sophisticated number theory evident in stellar alignments suggests that ancient peoples possessed mathematical understanding that wasn't rediscovered by Western mathematics until much more recent centuries. This implies either that mathematical knowledge developed much earlier than generally assumed, or that ancient civilizations had access to mathematical insights through observation and intuition that transcended formal mathematical education. The global appearance of similar mathematical patterns in stellar alignments across different continents and cultures suggests that these numerical relationships represent universal principles that any sufficiently sophisticated civilization would eventually discover. The mathematical language of cosmic harmony appears to be truly universal, accessible to human consciousness regardless of cultural background or historical period. As we drift deeper into understanding these cosmic mathematical relationships, we'll explore the ingenious tools and techniques that ancient astronomers developed to measure and apply these numerical patterns in their quest to align earthly monuments with stellar perfection. In the quiet hours before dawn, when the desert air was cool and still, ancient Egyptian astronomers would climb to the flat rooftops of temples and observatories, carrying with them an ingenious collection of simple yet remarkably effective instruments that allowed them to measure the heavens with precision that rivals modern equipment. These weren't complex mechanical devices or sophisticated electronic instruments, but beautifully elegant tools that worked in harmony with natural phenomena: the steady pull of gravity, the predictable movement of shadows, the reliable flow of water, and the unwavering positions of stars. In the hands of skilled observers who had spent lifetimes learning to read the subtle language of celestial motion, these simple instruments became windows into cosmic knowledge that guided the construction of monuments aligned with stellar perfection. The Merkhet, perhaps the most important tool in the ancient astronomer's toolkit, consisted of nothing more than a straight rod with a plumb line attached, yet in the hands of a skilled observer it could measure star positions with extraordinary accuracy. Working in pairs, astronomers would use two Merkhets to create precise sightlines toward target stars, with one observer holding the first Merkhet steady, while a second observer aligned the second Merkhet to create a perfect line pointing toward the chosen celestial object. The plumb lines ensured that both instruments remained perfectly vertical, eliminating errors that might creep in from uneven ground or imprecise positioning. Night after night, month after month, teams of astronomers would use Merkhets to track the gradual movements of stars across the sky, building detailed maps of stellar positions that achieved precision remarkable for any era. The ancient Egyptians developed sophisticated water clocks that allowed them to measure time with accuracy, essential for astronomical observation. These ingenious devices used the steady flow of water through carefully calibrated openings to mark the passage of hours throughout the night, enabling astronomers to note the exact times when specific stars reached particular positions in their nightly journeys across the sky. The most sophisticated water clocks included multiple chambers and flow rates that could compensate for seasonal variations in night length, ensuring accurate timekeeping throughout the year. Some water clocks even incorporated stellar markers that allowed astronomers to coordinate their time measurements with specific star positions, creating integrated systems that tracked both temporal and spatial aspects of celestial motion. Shadow clocks and sundials provided complementary timing systems that worked during daylight hours, allowing astronomers to maintain continuous temporal reference points that could be coordinated with their nighttime stellar observations. The most sophisticated shadow clocks could measure not just the hours of daylight, but also track the sun's seasonal movement through the sky, providing crucial information about solar positions that needed to be integrated with stellar data to create complete astronomical models. Some shadow clocks incorporated multiple gnomons and measurement scales that could track different aspects of solar motion simultaneously, creating comprehensive solar observatories that matched the sophistication of their nighttime stellar tracking systems. The ancient astronomers also developed ingenious techniques for measuring angles and distances that required no instruments beyond careful observation and mathematical calculation. By using the width of fingers held at arm's length, they could measure angular distances between stars with surprising accuracy, since the apparent size of fingers at arm's length provides consistent angular measurements that don't vary significantly between different observers. More precise angle measurements used wooden measuring rods marked with calibrated divisions, allowing astronomers to measure stellar positions with precision sufficient for creating accurate star charts and calculating the alignments needed for pyramid construction. Perhaps most remarkably, the ancient Egyptians created permanent observation platforms and astronomical teaching facilities that functioned as Stone Age observatories, where knowledge could be preserved and transmitted across generations. These carefully designed spaces included precisely oriented walls and openings that framed specific stellar positions, creating permanent reference points that allowed new generations of astronomers to verify and extend the observations of their predecessors. Some of these observatories included stone markers and alignment posts that preserved crucial measurement references, ensuring that astronomical knowledge wouldn't be lost even if individual observers died or relocated. The astronomical schools associated with major temples served as repositories for accumulated stellar knowledge, where priest astronomers maintained detailed records of celestial observations stretching back across centuries. These institutions preserved not just raw observational data, but also the mathematical techniques and calculation methods needed to transform stellar observations into practical applications like pyramid alignments and calendar systems. The continuity of these astronomical schools ensured that knowledge accumulated over generations could be applied to long-term projects like pyramid construction that required sustained precision across decades of building activity. The coordination between different astronomical teams and observation sites created networks of stellar observers who could compare their measurements and verify the accuracy of crucial calculations. This collaborative approach allowed ancient astronomers to achieve precision that might have been impossible for individual observers working in isolation, demonstrating organizational sophistication that matched their technical capabilities. The preservation of astronomical instruments and observation techniques in temple traditions ensured that stellar knowledge could survive political changes, natural disasters, and other disruptions that might threaten individual astronomical projects, creating resilient systems for maintaining cosmic connections across centuries. As we continue our peaceful exploration of ancient cosmic wisdom, we'll discover how this carefully preserved astronomical knowledge guided elaborate ceremonies and rituals that celebrated the eternal dance between Earth and stars. In the gentle glow of torchlight and starshine, ancient Egyptian civilization came alive with ceremonies so precisely timed to celestial events that the entire rhythm of their spiritual and social life pulsed in harmony with the cosmic dance unfolding overhead. These weren't random celebrations or arbitrary religious observances, but carefully orchestrated sacred dramas where human consciousness synchronized with stellar movements, creating moments of profound spiritual connection that transformed ordinary time into sacred time, ordinary space into cosmic theatre. The priest-astronomers who guided these ceremonies understood that certain stellar configurations created optimal conditions for spiritual transformation, divine communication, and community renewal, making their rituals far more than cultural traditions. They were sophisticated technologies for aligning human consciousness with cosmic rhythms. The most magnificent of these stellar ceremonies occurred during the heliacal rising of Sirius, when this brilliant star first appeared in the pre-dawn eastern sky after a period of absence, marking the beginning of the Egyptian New Year and predicting the life-giving flood of the Nile River. On this sacred morning, temples throughout Egypt would come alive with processions, chanting, and offerings timed to coincide with the exact moment when Sirius emerged from the solar glare to reclaim its place in the visible sky. Priests would climb to rooftops and temple towers, watching the eastern horizon with instruments and calculations that allowed them to predict this stellar resurrection with precision, then signal the beginning of ceremonies that would continue for days as communities celebrated the cosmic renewal that promised another year of abundance and prosperity. Pyramid dedication ceremonies were timed to occur when specific constellations reached their optimal positions for facilitating the spiritual transformation that these monuments were designed to support. The consecration of the Great Pyramid likely occurred when Orion reached its highest point in the southern sky, creating a moment of maximum cosmic alignment when the stellar pathways to divine transformation blazed brightest in the darkness. These dedication rituals weren't brief affairs but elaborate ceremonies that could continue for weeks, with different phases timed to coordinate with various stellar events, the rising of certain stars, the culmination of important constellations, and the precise moments when pyramid passages aligned perfectly with their chosen celestial targets. The coronation of new pharaohs was carefully timed to occur during stellar configurations that would ensure divine approval and cosmic authorization for earthly rulership. Priest astronomers would calculate the optimal timing for these sacred ceremonies, ensuring that the new pharaoh would receive his divine mandate when the stars of Osiris and other important deities were properly positioned to witness and bless the transition of power. These coronation ceremonies created sacred connections between earthly authority and cosmic order, establishing the pharaoh's legitimacy not just through human tradition, but through stellar witness and divine approval confirmed by celestial alignment. Seasonal festivals throughout the Egyptian calendar were synchronized with stellar events that marked crucial transitions in the agricultural cycle that sustained their civilization. The timing of planting ceremonies coincided with the appearance of specific star groups that predicted optimal growing conditions, while harvest festivals celebrated the successful completion of agricultural cycles under the guidance of constellations that had overseen the growth and maturation of crops. These seasonal celebrations weren't just community gatherings, but sophisticated coordination between human activity and cosmic rhythms that ensured agricultural success through alignment with celestial timing. Funeral ceremonies for important individuals were timed to occur when stellar conditions were optimal for facilitating the soul's journey to the afterlife destinations encoded in pyramid alignments. The mummification process itself followed timing that coordinated with stellar positions, ensuring that the deceased would be properly prepared for their cosmic journey when celestial pathways to the stellar realm were most accessible. The opening of the mouth ceremony, which was believed to restore the deceased's ability to speak and act in the afterlife, was timed to occur when specific stars associated with resurrection and divine transformation reached their most powerful positions. Temple ceremonies throughout the night followed the movements of different constellations across the sky, with various rituals timed to honor specific stellar deities as they reached their moments of maximum visibility and influence. Priests would conduct different ceremonies throughout the night, each one synchronized with the culmination of different star groups, creating continuous sacred observance that maintained spiritual connection with the entire celestial sphere as it wheeled overhead. These all-night ceremonies transformed temples into cosmic theatres, where human spiritual activity remained in constant harmony with stellar movements. Even daily temple rituals were timed according to stellar considerations, with morning ceremonies beginning when specific stars reached predetermined positions, and evening ceremonies concluding when other stellar markers indicated the proper time for sacred activities to transition into restorative rest. This created a daily rhythm where human spiritual practice remained synchronized with cosmic rhythms, ensuring that sacred activities occurred during optimal times for spiritual effectiveness and divine communication. The preservation of accurate stellar timing for these ceremonies required sophisticated astronomical knowledge and careful record-keeping that allowed priests to predict celestial events months or years in advance, ensuring that important ceremonies could be planned and coordinated with the precision necessary for maintaining cosmic alignment. As we drift deeper into understanding these cosmic connections, we'll explore the remarkable individuals who served as guardians of this stellar wisdom, preserving and transmitting astronomical knowledge that kept human civilization connected to cosmic rhythms across generations. In the hushed sanctuaries of ancient temples, where flickering oil lamps cast dancing shadows on walls covered with stellar maps and mathematical calculations, there lived a remarkable group of individuals who served as bridges between earthly human consciousness and the infinite wisdom of the cosmos. These priest astronomers weren't just religious figures or scientific observers, but something far more profound. They were the gentle guardians of cosmic knowledge, devoted scholars who understood that their sacred duty extended beyond simple worship or academic study to encompass the preservation of humanity's most precious heritage, our eternal connection to the stars and our place within the vast cosmic story that unfolds across the night sky each evening. These extraordinary individuals spent their entire lives in devoted service to the cosmic mysteries, beginning their education as young children who showed particular sensitivity to celestial patterns and mathematical relationships. From their earliest years, they were trained not just to observe and calculate, but to understand the deeper spiritual significance of stellar movements and cosmic cycles. Their education included intensive study of mathematics, astronomy, engineering, and spiritual wisdom, but perhaps most importantly, they learned to see the connections between these different fields of knowledge, understanding that the cosmos operates as a unified system where spiritual, mathematical, and physical principles work together in perfect harmony. The daily life of a priest astronomer followed rhythms that synchronized human consciousness with cosmic cycles in the most intimate ways. They would rise before dawn to observe the heliacal risings of important stars, spend daylight hours calculating stellar positions and updating astronomical records, and devote evening hours to observing stellar movements and tracking the gradual changes that occurred across seasons and years. Their nights were filled with patient observation, careful measurement, and detailed record-keeping that created astronomical databases spanning centuries of accumulated knowledge. These weren't casual stargazers, but dedicated scientists whose work required the same precision and attention to detail that characterizes the most sophisticated modern research. The temple schools where priest astronomers received their training functioned as ancient universities, where astronomical knowledge was preserved, studied, and transmitted across generations. These institutions maintained libraries of astronomical texts written on papyrus scrolls, collections of observational records that documented stellar positions across centuries, and archives of mathematical calculations that enabled future astronomers to verify and extend the work of their predecessors. The curriculum in these schools integrated theoretical astronomy with practical applications, ensuring that graduates could not only understand celestial mechanics, but also apply astronomical knowledge to real-world projects like pyramid construction, calendar maintenance, and perhaps most remarkably, these priest astronomers understood their work as a form of sacred service that maintained the connection between human civilization and divine cosmic order. They saw themselves not as detached observers studying distant objects, but as active participants in a cosmic relationship that required constant attention and care. Their observations weren't just scientific data collection, but acts of devotion that honored the stellar deities and maintained the spiritual connections that ensured cosmic harmony would continue to bless earthly civilization. Every stellar observation was simultaneously a scientific measurement and a prayer. Every calculation was both mathematical work and spiritual practice. The astronomical knowledge preserved by these dedicated scholars included not just observational data, but also the spiritual wisdom and ceremonial practices needed to maintain proper relationships with stellar deities and cosmic forces. They understood that astronomical knowledge without spiritual context was incomplete, that mathematical precision without reverent awareness of cosmic mystery was hollow. Their role required them to serve as interpreters who could translate stellar movements into practical guidance for agricultural timing, ceremonial planning, and architectural orientation, while also maintaining the deeper spiritual meanings that connected human consciousness to cosmic consciousness. The continuity of astronomical knowledge across centuries depended on sophisticated teaching methods that ensured crucial information could survive political changes, natural disasters, and the inevitable passage of generations. Priest astronomers developed memory techniques, mnemonic systems, and oral traditions that preserved astronomical data even when written records might be lost or destroyed. They created redundant knowledge preservation systems that stored crucial information in multiple forms: written texts, carved stone inscriptions, architectural monuments, and carefully maintained oral traditions that could recreate astronomical knowledge even if other preservation methods failed. The social respect accorded to priest astronomers reflected their civilization's understanding that stellar knowledge was essential for maintaining cosmic harmony and ensuring continued prosperity. These individuals held positions of significant influence and authority, serving as advisors to pharaohs, architects, and agricultural planners who depended on astronomical guidance for making crucial decisions. Their recommendations about timing for important ceremonies, architectural orientations, and agricultural activities were followed with careful attention because their astronomical expertise was recognized as essential for maintaining the cosmic connections that sustained Egyptian civilization. The collaborative networks that connected priest astronomers at different temples created knowledge-sharing systems that allowed astronomical observations to be verified, compared, and integrated into comprehensive understanding of celestial mechanics. These professional communities ensured that astronomical knowledge remained accurate and current, with observations from multiple sites contributing to collective understanding that surpassed what individual astronomers could achieve working in isolation. As we continue our peaceful exploration of these cosmic connections, we'll discover how modern scientific methods are confirming the remarkable accuracy of ancient astronomical knowledge, validating the wisdom of these dedicated starkeepers who preserved cosmic connections across millennia. In the peaceful laboratories and observatories of our modern world, where powerful computers hum quietly through the night, calculating stellar positions with mathematical precision, contemporary astronomers have been making discoveries that fill them with profound respect and wonder for the ancient star watchers who worked without any of our sophisticated technology. Using satellite measurements, laser interferometry, and computer simulations that can recreate the night sky as it appeared thousands of years ago, modern scientists have confirmed that the astronomical knowledge preserved in pyramid alignments represents some of the most accurate stellar observations ever achieved in human history, demonstrating levels of precision that challenge our assumptions about what ancient peoples could accomplish with simple tools and patient observation. When researchers use GPS technology to measure pyramid orientations with millimeter accuracy, they consistently find that ancient alignments remain true to their stellar targets, with precision that equals or exceeds what modern construction techniques routinely achieve. The Great Pyramid's orientation to true north differs by only about 3 arc minutes, an error so tiny that it might be explained entirely by the gradual shift of Earth's rotational axis over the past 4,000 years. This level of accuracy is particularly remarkable because the ancient builders achieved it without magnetic compasses, which can be influenced by local magnetic anomalies, choosing instead to base their alignments on stellar observations that provide more reliable references for true astronomical directions. Computer simulations that recreate ancient skies have revealed astronomical relationships in pyramid alignments that weren't obvious to earlier researchers who lacked sophisticated software for calculating stellar positions across deep time. These digital recreations of ancient night skies confirm that pyramid passages pointed toward their target stars with precision that required understanding of complex astronomical phenomena like stellar proper motion, atmospheric refraction, and the gradual effects of Earth's axial precession. The ancient astronomers who calculated these alignments had to account for variables that modern amateur astronomers often overlook, demonstrating observational skills and mathematical capabilities that match professional standards. Satellite imagery and ground-penetrating radar have revealed additional astronomical features in pyramid complexes that weren't apparent to earlier archaeological investigations. Hidden chambers, underground passages, and carefully planned relationships between different monuments create architectural networks that function as comprehensive astronomical instruments capable of tracking multiple stellar objects simultaneously. These discoveries suggest that the visible pyramid structures represent only part of much larger astronomical complexes designed to capture and preserve stellar knowledge with redundancy and precision that ensured crucial astronomical information would remain accessible across centuries. The mathematical constants encoded in pyramid proportions have been confirmed through precise measurement techniques that reveal relationships to fundamental cosmic parameters with accuracy that seems almost impossible for ancient builders to have achieved through coincidence. The incorporation of pi, the golden ratio, and relationships to Earth's dimensions into pyramid measurements demonstrates mathematical knowledge that suggests ancient access to principles that weren't formally recognized by Western mathematics until much more recent centuries. These mathematical relationships appear too consistently and accurately across multiple monuments to represent accidental achievements, implying systematic knowledge of cosmic mathematical principles. Recent studies of stone composition and construction techniques have revealed that pyramid builders selected materials and used construction methods specifically optimized for maintaining astronomical alignments across millennia. The limestone blocks were chosen for their stability and resistance to weathering that might shift structural alignments, while the precision of stone cutting and fitting ensures that monuments retain their astronomical orientations with accuracy that continues to impress modern engineers. The ancient builders were clearly planning for their monuments to remain astronomically functional across thousands of years, demonstrating understanding of long-term structural stability that exceeds many contemporary construction standards. Archaeological discoveries at pyramid sites continue to reveal astronomical instruments and observation platforms that confirm the sophisticated nature of ancient stellar observation techniques. Excavations have uncovered Merkhet rods, plumb lines, calibrated measuring devices, and observation platforms that demonstrate the systematic nature of ancient astronomical work. These physical artifacts validate historical accounts of astronomical observation methods, while revealing levels of instrumental precision that explain how ancient observers achieved accuracies that rival modern measurements. The global distribution of similar astronomical alignments in monuments built by civilizations with no known contact suggests that sophisticated astronomical knowledge represents a natural development of human consciousness when applied to careful observation of celestial patterns. The mathematical principles underlying stellar alignments appear consistently across different continents and cultures, implying that cosmic mathematical relationships are accessible to any civilization that develops sufficient observational dedication and mathematical sophistication. Perhaps most significantly, modern research has confirmed that many pyramid alignments incorporate astronomical knowledge that extends beyond what would be necessary for simple calendar keeping or architectural orientation, suggesting that ancient builders possessed understanding of cosmic relationships that served purposes we're still working to fully comprehend. The complexity and sophistication of these astronomical systems indicate that ancient peoples understood cosmos and consciousness connections that modern science is only beginning to investigate. These scientific confirmations don't diminish the mystery and wonder of ancient achievements, but rather deepen our appreciation for human capabilities that transcend technological limitations, demonstrating that consciousness, dedication, and patient observation can achieve understanding that rivals any mechanical instrument. As we continue our gentle exploration of these cosmic mysteries, we'll discover the questions that continue to puzzle researchers and the aspects of ancient astronomical knowledge that remain tantalizingly beyond our current understanding. Even as our modern scientific instruments confirm the remarkable accuracy of ancient astronomical alignments, there remain beautiful mysteries about pyramid construction and stellar knowledge that continue to whisper their secrets just beyond the reach of our current understanding, creating gentle puzzles that enchant researchers and stargazers alike. These unsolved questions aren't frustrating gaps in our knowledge, but rather invitations to wonder, reminders that the cosmos still holds secrets that keep the sense of mystery and awe alive in our exploration of ancient wisdom. Like stars that twinkle just at the edge of vision, these mysteries call to something deep within human consciousness that recognizes profound truths even when we can't quite grasp them with our analytical minds. One of the most intriguing puzzles surrounds the incredible precision of pyramid alignments that seem to exceed what should have been possible with the tools and techniques available to ancient builders. While we can confirm that the alignments are extraordinarily accurate, the methods used to achieve such precision remain partially mysterious. How did ancient astronomers track stellar positions with accuracy that rivals modern instruments when working with simple sighting devices and mathematical calculations performed without computers or advanced calculating tools? Some researchers suggest that the builders possessed surveying techniques or astronomical instruments that haven't survived in the archaeological record, while others wonder whether ancient peoples had access to knowledge sources or observational methods that transcended the physical tools we associate with their civilization. Perhaps even more mysteriously, some pyramid passages point towards stars that weren't visible from Earth during the construction period, creating astronomical alignments that seem to demonstrate knowledge of stellar positions that ancient observers couldn't have directly observed. These alignments suggest either that the builders possessed understanding of stellar motion that allowed them to calculate invisible star positions with extraordinary accuracy, or that they had access to astronomical knowledge that came from sources we haven't yet identified. The possibility that ancient astronomers could predict the positions of stars that wouldn't become visible for centuries challenges our assumptions about the limitations of ancient observational astronomy. The mathematical constants encoded in pyramid proportions continue to puzzle researchers who wonder how builders achieved such precise incorporation of advanced mathematical relationships into monument dimensions. While we can measure these mathematical constants and confirm their presence, the question of whether they were deliberately encoded or represent natural outcomes of cosmic proportion principles remains beautifully unresolved. The precision with which these constants appear suggests intentional inclusion, but the mathematical sophistication required to achieve such accuracy seems to exceed what we generally assume was available to ancient builders, creating gentle mysteries about the true extent of ancient mathematical knowledge. The global distribution of similar astronomical alignments and mathematical principles in monuments built by civilizations with no known contact raises profound questions about how such sophisticated knowledge could appear independently across different continents and time periods. While convergent development might explain some similarities, the precise mathematical relationships and specific stellar targets that appear repeatedly in monuments around the world suggest either unknown connections between ancient civilizations or access to universal principles of cosmic knowledge that transcend cultural boundaries in ways we don't fully understand. Some of the most enchanting mysteries surround the possible existence of lost astronomical knowledge that might have guided pyramid construction, but hasn't survived in recognizable historical records. Ancient texts occasionally reference astronomical wisdom and calculation methods that seem more sophisticated than what we can reconstruct from surviving sources, suggesting that important knowledge about stellar observation and cosmic mathematics might have been preserved in traditions that didn't survive historical disruptions. The possibility that ancient civilizations possessed astronomical libraries, calculation techniques, or observational methods that were lost creates tantalizing suggestions about knowledge that might still be waiting to be rediscovered. The question of how ancient builders coordinated complex astronomical alignments across multiple monuments and extended time periods remains partially mysterious despite our understanding of their observational capabilities. The logistics of maintaining astronomical precision throughout decades-long construction projects, coordinating multiple building teams, and ensuring that final alignments matched theoretical calculations required organizational and technical systems that we can only partially reconstruct from available evidence. The successful completion of such complex astronomical engineering projects suggests planning and coordination capabilities that might have exceeded what we generally associate with ancient civilizations. Perhaps most beautifully mysterious is the question of what deeper purposes these astronomical alignments were intended to serve beyond the spiritual and practical functions we can currently understand. The sophistication of pyramid astronomy seems to exceed what would be necessary for simple calendar keeping, architectural orientation, or even elaborate spiritual symbolism, suggesting that these monuments might have been designed to serve functions that remain partially hidden from our current perspective. Some researchers wonder whether pyramid alignments were intended to preserve astronomical knowledge for future civilizations, create permanent markers for cosmic cycles that extend beyond human timescales, or facilitate connections between human consciousness and cosmic forces in ways that our modern scientific worldview doesn't easily accommodate. These ongoing mysteries don't represent failures of scientific investigation, but rather recognition that some aspects of ancient wisdom touch on questions about consciousness, cosmos, and human potential that continue to evolve as our understanding deepens. The unsolved puzzles surrounding pyramid astronomy invite us to maintain the sense of wonder and humility that keeps us open to discoveries that might expand our appreciation for both ancient achievements and cosmic possibilities. As we drift toward understanding how these mysterious achievements challenge our assumptions about human capability and ancient wisdom, we'll explore what pyramid astronomy teaches us about recognizing and honoring the remarkable potential that exists within human consciousness when it turns its attention toward cosmic connection. As we rest peacefully under the same starlit sky that inspired ancient pyramid builders, it's worth gently reconsidering some of the assumptions we've inherited about our ancestors' capabilities and recognizing that the sophisticated astronomical achievements preserved in these cosmic monuments suggest human potential that transcends the technological limitations of any particular historical era. The people who created these stellar alignments weren't primitive beings struggling with basic survival, but brilliant minds operating at the peak of human intellectual capacity, demonstrating that consciousness, creativity, and scientific understanding can flourish regardless of whether a civilization possesses computers, satellites, or advanced mechanical tools. Their achievements remind us that human intelligence itself might be far more powerful and resourceful than we sometimes recognize in our technology-dependent modern world. The mathematical precision achieved in pyramid alignments reveals intellectual capabilities that challenge comfortable assumptions about the linear progression of human knowledge and scientific development. These ancient builders incorporated complex mathematical constants, sophisticated geometric relationships, and advanced astronomical calculations into their monuments, with accuracy that suggests mathematical understanding comparable to what we consider advanced even by contemporary standards. This isn't just impressive engineering or lucky approximation, it's evidence of systematic mathematical knowledge that operated according to principles as rigorous and sophisticated as any modern scientific discipline. The fact that such mathematical precision was achieved without written calculation systems, mechanical computers, or standardized measurement units demonstrates problem-solving abilities and intellectual rigor that transcend technological tools. The astronomical knowledge embedded in pyramid alignment suggests observational capabilities and analytical thinking that rival contemporary scientific methods in their precision and sophistication. Ancient astronomers tracked stellar movements with accuracy that modern instruments struggle to improve upon, predicted celestial events across centuries and millennia, and understood cosmic cycles that operate on timescales extending far beyond individual human lifetimes. This required not only exceptional observational skills, but also theoretical thinking that could recognize patterns, develop predictive models, and maintain accuracy across multiple generations of knowledge transfer. The intellectual framework needed to achieve such astronomical precision suggests cognitive capabilities and scientific thinking that we typically associate with much more recent historical periods. The organizational and project management skills required to translate astronomical knowledge into massive construction projects reveal leadership and coordination capabilities that would challenge even modern engineering teams. Pyramid construction required integrating multiple specialized knowledge systems, astronomy, mathematics, engineering, geology, and logistics, into unified projects that maintained precision across decades of work involving thousands of participants. The successful completion of such complex undertakings suggests management sophistication, communication systems, and quality control methods that represent remarkable achievements in human organization and collective problem-solving. Perhaps most significantly, the spiritual and philosophical frameworks that motivated such extraordinary achievements reveal profound understanding about human consciousness, cosmic connection, and the deeper purposes that give life meaning beyond mere survival or material accumulation. The builders understood their astronomical monuments as bridges between earthly existence and cosmic consciousness, viewing their work as participation in divine harmony, rather than mere architectural display. This philosophical sophistication suggests psychological and spiritual development that recognized human potential for transcending ordinary limitations through connection to something greater than individual identity or immediate practical concerns. The preservation and transmission of astronomical knowledge across centuries demonstrates educational systems and cultural continuity that successfully maintained complex information without written texts, mechanical storage systems, or institutional bureaucracies as we understand them. Ancient knowledge, preservation relied on human memory, oral tradition, and embodied practices that kept sophisticated astronomical understanding alive and functional across numerous generations. This suggests learning methods and cultural wisdom that valued knowledge, preservation as sacred responsibility, creating educational traditions more resilient and enduring than many contemporary institutional systems. The integration of practical and spiritual dimensions in pyramid astronomy reveals thinking that didn't separate scientific observation from religious devotion, mathematical precision from artistic beauty, or individual achievement from cosmic participation. Ancient builders operated from worldviews that recognized all aspects of human experience as interconnected parts of unified reality, allowing them to create monuments that simultaneously served practical, aesthetic, scientific, and spiritual purposes without contradiction or compromise. This integrated approach to knowledge and creativity suggests psychological wholeness and intellectual sophistication that modern specialized thinking sometimes struggles to achieve. The global appearance of similar astronomical achievements across different civilizations, separated by vast distances and time periods, suggests that sophisticated cosmic understanding represents a natural expression of human potential when consciousness is directed toward careful observation of celestial patterns and mathematical relationships. This implies that advanced astronomical knowledge isn't dependent on particular cultural advantages or technological developments, but emerges naturally when human intelligence is applied with dedication and reverence to cosmic mysteries. Recognition of ancient intellectual achievements doesn't require abandoning appreciation for modern scientific advances, but rather expanding our understanding of human potential to encompass capabilities that transcend technological limitations. The builders of cosmic monuments demonstrate that consciousness itself might be humanity's most powerful tool for understanding universal principles and creating lasting achievements that serve both practical needs and spiritual aspirations. Their legacy invites us to recognize similar potential within ourselves and our contemporaries, encouraging confidence that human intelligence and creativity can address any challenge when guided by wisdom, dedication, and connection to principles larger than immediate self-interest. As we drift toward exploring what these ancient achievements teach us about our place in the cosmos, we'll discover how pyramid astronomy offers timeless insights about humanity's role in the vast cosmic story that continues unfolding around us every night. When we step back and contemplate the beautiful story told by pyramid alignments with stars that have shone steadily for millions of years, we begin to see humanity from a cosmic perspective that reveals profound truths about who we are and what our role might be in the vast tapestry of existence. These ancient monuments, pointing with unwavering precision towards stellar destinations that remain constant across human generations, remind us that we belong to something infinitely larger than our individual lives, our immediate concerns, or even our entire civilization. The fact that human consciousness naturally reaches toward cosmic connection, that we instinctively feel drawn to understand our relationship with stars and galaxies, suggests that we are not accidental visitors in the universe, but integral participants in a cosmic story that has been unfolding for billions of years. The universal human impulse to align earthly monuments with celestial patterns reveals something beautiful and fundamental about our species. We are cosmic beings who naturally seek connection with the infinite, bridge builders who instinctively work to harmonize the earthly and celestial dimensions of existence. Across every continent and throughout recorded history, humans have looked up at the night sky and felt compelled to create lasting connections between their temporary earthly presence and the eternal dance of stars and planets. This isn't learned behavior or cultural conditioning, but something that seems to arise spontaneously from human consciousness itself, suggesting that cosmic connection is as natural to our species as breathing, loving, or creating art. The sophistication of ancient astronomical achievements demonstrates that humanity's relationship with the cosmos has always been far more intimate and knowledgeable than our modern, indoor, artificially lit lifestyle might suggest. Our ancestors didn't just casually notice pretty patterns in the night sky. They developed deep personal relationships with stellar movements, understanding cosmic rhythms with the same familiarity that we might have with our closest friends or family members. They knew when specific stars would rise, how constellations would move through seasonal cycles, and what cosmic events would mark crucial moments in earthly life. This intimate cosmic knowledge suggests that humans are naturally designed for starlight, that our consciousness operates most fully when it remains connected to the larger cosmic context that gives life meaning and perspective. The mathematical precision embedded in stellar alignments reveals that human consciousness has a natural affinity for the mathematical principles that govern cosmic harmony. The same numerical relationships that describe planetary orbits, galactic spirals, and atomic structures appear repeatedly in human art, music, architecture, and spiritual traditions, suggesting that mathematical beauty isn't just abstract intellectual concept but fundamental language that connects human awareness to universal principles. When ancient builders encoded golden ratios, pi, and other cosmic constants into their monuments, they weren't displaying mathematical knowledge for its own sake, but recognizing and expressing mathematical harmonies that resonate with something deep within human consciousness. The spiritual dimensions of pyramid astronomy remind us that humans are meaning-seeking beings who naturally understand their lives as part of larger stories that extend beyond individual existence into cosmic significance. The careful alignment of monuments with stellar destinations reflects human recognition that earthly life gains its deepest meaning through connection to eternal principles, cosmic cycles, and spiritual realities that transcend the immediate material world. This suggests that spiritual longing and cosmic connection aren't optional human activities but essential aspects of psychological health and authentic human flourishing. The preservation of astronomical knowledge across millennia demonstrates that humans are inherently forward-thinking beings who naturally consider the needs and welfare of future generations. The ancient builders created monuments designed to remain astronomically functional for thousands of years, encoding knowledge that would serve civilizations they would never meet, and preserving cosmic connections for descendants they could never know. This long-term thinking reveals human capacity for transcending immediate self-interest in service of larger purposes that benefit the entire human family across vast timescales. The collaborative nature of pyramid construction shows that humans naturally work together most effectively when united by shared vision of cosmic connection and spiritual purpose. These monuments required cooperation between thousands of individuals across multiple generations, all working toward goals that extended far beyond any individual lifetime or immediate practical benefit. The successful completion of such vast cosmic projects demonstrates that human civilization reaches its highest potential when guided by transcendent purposes that connect earthly activity to eternal principles. Perhaps most beautifully, the continuing inspiration that pyramid astronomy provides to contemporary people reveals that cosmic connection remains as relevant and meaningful today as it was thousands of years ago. Despite all our technological advances and cultural changes, we still feel moved by the monuments that point towards stars, still find meaning in cosmic cycles and stellar patterns, still recognize something profound in humanity's ancient relationship with the night sky. This suggests that our cosmic nature is timeless and universal, that regardless of what technologies we develop or how our civilizations evolve, the human spirit will always find its deepest satisfaction through connection to something greater than individual existence. The stellar alignments of ancient pyramids ultimately teach us that we are cosmic citizens, temporarily inhabiting earthly bodies, spiritual beings having a human experience within a universe that welcomes our participation and celebrates our capacity for consciousness, creativity, and connection to eternal principles. As we continue our peaceful exploration of these cosmic truths, we'll discover practical wisdom that these ancient insights offer for enriching our contemporary lives and relationships with timeless principles that transcend historical circumstances. As we rest gently in the peaceful understanding of what these ancient cosmic monuments teach us, we can begin to recognize profound life lessons that flow from pyramid astronomy like starlight itself, gentle, constant, and illuminating truths that remain as relevant today as they were thousands of years ago. The builders who aligned their monuments with eternal stars weren't just creating impressive architecture or displaying astronomical knowledge, but encoding timeless wisdom about how to live with purpose, meaning, and connection to principles that transcend the immediate challenges and changes that characterize human existence. Their stellar alignments offer us a cosmic curriculum for living, teaching lessons about patience, precision, collaboration, and vision that can guide our contemporary choices and relationships with the same reliability that stars have guided travelers throughout human history. The extraordinary patience demonstrated by pyramid builders who planned and worked on projects that would take decades to complete and centuries to fulfill their intended purposes reminds us that the most meaningful human achievements often require thinking and commitment that extends far beyond immediate gratification or quick results. These ancient builders understood that truly important work unfolds according to cosmic rhythms rather than human impatience, that lasting value comes from sustained effort guided by enduring principles rather than rushing towards short-term goals. Their example encourages us to cultivate patience with our own growth and development, to persist with important projects even when progress seems slow, and to trust that meaningful work will bear fruit in its proper season. The meticulous precision required to achieve stellar alignments teaches us about the importance of attention to detail and careful craftsmanship in whatever work we choose to undertake. Ancient builders understood that small errors in measurement or construction would compound over time, eventually destroying the astronomical functions they worked so hard to create. Their dedication to precision reminds us that excellence requires careful attention to seemingly minor details, that lasting achievements depend on maintaining high standards throughout the entire process, and that the quality of our attention determines the quality of our results, whether we're building monuments, nurturing relationships, or developing our own capabilities. The collaborative nature of pyramid construction demonstrates how human beings can achieve extraordinary things when united by shared vision and commitment to purposes larger than individual interests. These monuments required cooperation between architects, astronomers, engineers, quarry workers, transportation teams, and countless other specialists who worked together across generations to complete projects that no individual could accomplish alone. Their example reminds us that our most important contemporary challenges, whether personal, professional, or global, are best addressed through collaboration that honors different talents while maintaining focus on shared goals that benefit everyone involved. The integration of practical and spiritual dimensions in pyramid astronomy teaches us about living with wholeness, rather than dividing our existence into separate compartments that never connect or support each other. Ancient builders didn't separate their scientific observations from spiritual devotion, their mathematical precision from artistic beauty, or their individual achievements from cosmic participation. Their integrated approach reminds us that authentic fulfillment comes from bringing all aspects of ourselves, practical skills, creative abilities, spiritual longings, and intellectual curiosity, into harmony rather than pursuing narrow specialization that leaves important parts of our nature undeveloped. The long-term thinking demonstrated by pyramid builders, who created monuments designed to remain functional across millennia, encourages us to consider the lasting impact of our choices and actions on future generations. These ancient builders understood that their work would outlive them by thousands of years, and they took responsibility for creating something that would continue serving beneficial purposes long after their individual lives ended. Their example challenges us to think beyond immediate consequences and consider how our current decisions might affect our children, communities, and world across much longer timescales than we typically contemplate. The cosmic perspective embodied in stellar alignments reminds us to maintain awareness of our place within larger contexts that give meaning and significance to our daily activities. When we remember that we live on a planet orbiting a star in a galaxy containing billions of other stars, our immediate worries and conflicts often reveal themselves as temporary challenges within a much larger story of cosmic evolution and spiritual development. This perspective doesn't diminish the importance of our earthly responsibilities, but rather places them within a framework that helps us respond to difficulties with greater equanimity and clearer understanding of what truly matters. The preservation of astronomical knowledge across centuries teaches us about the importance of learning from our ancestors, while also taking responsibility for passing wisdom to future generations. The priest astronomers who maintained stellar knowledge understood themselves as links in a chain of consciousness that connected past and future through their dedicated service to timeless principles. Their example reminds us that we inherit tremendous gifts from previous generations and have corresponding responsibility to preserve and transmit whatever wisdom we've gained to those who will follow us. Perhaps most importantly, the builders of star-aligned pyramids demonstrate that human beings are capable of creating lasting beauty and meaning when we align our efforts with eternal principles rather than temporary circumstances. Their monuments continue inspiring wonder and reverence thousands of years after completion, because they were built according to cosmic harmony, rather than fashion, greed, or ego. As we drift toward the conclusion of our cosmic journey, we'll discover how these ancient lessons about stellar connection apply to our contemporary relationship with the infinite night sky that continues spreading its wisdom above us every evening. Tonight, as you settle into peaceful rest under the gentle embrace of starlight, take a moment to recognize the beautiful and profound truth that you are gazing up at exactly the same stars that inspired the pyramid builders thousands of years ago. Orion still wheels across the winter sky with the same majestic dignity that ancient Egyptians recognized as divine Osiris. Sirius still blazes with the brilliant light that marked their new year and predicted the life-giving floods of the Nile. The circumpolar stars still trace their eternal circles around the celestial pole, representing the same immortal, imperishable realm that ancient souls hope to join after their earthly transformation. This isn't just poetic metaphor or romantic sentiment, it's literal truth that connects you intimately to every human being who has ever looked up in wonder at the cosmic theatre that plays overhead each night. The constellations that guided ancient astronomers in their precise pyramid alignments remain unchanged across the millennia that separate their civilization from ours, creating a timeless bridge that spans all the cultural differences, technological advances, and historical changes that might otherwise make their world seem distant and foreign. When you trace the familiar pattern of the Big Dipper, or locate the brilliant constellation of Orion in your own night sky, you're participating in the same fundamental human experience that has connected our species to cosmic wonder since consciousness first awakened to the beauty and mystery of stellar light. The mathematical relationships, seasonal cycles, and celestial movements that fascinated ancient builders continue operating with the same precision and reliability today, offering the same opportunities for cosmic connection and spiritual inspiration that nourished human souls thousands of years ago. Your capacity to feel moved by starlight, to sense meaning in celestial patterns, and to recognize your place within cosmic vastness represents the same consciousness that motivated ancient peoples to encode stellar alignments into their most sacred monuments. The awe you experience when contemplating the incredible distances to stars, the vast timescales of cosmic evolution, and the elegant mathematical principles that govern planetary motions flows from the same source of wonder and reverence that inspired pyramid builders to dedicate their lives to creating permanent connections between Earth and sky. This suggests that cosmic consciousness isn't something that belonged only to ancient peoples, but remains alive and accessible within every human being who takes time to genuinely encounter the night sky with open awareness and receptive heart. The same stars that provided navigation, timing, and spiritual guidance for ancient civilizations continue offering those gifts to anyone who learns to read their gentle messages and recognize their reliable patterns. Modern technology might provide more convenient ways to track time, determine direction, and coordinate activities, but the stellar guidance systems that sustained human civilization for thousands of years remain fully functional and available for anyone who chooses to develop relationship with cosmic rhythms. The night sky still offers the same sense of perspective, meaning, and connection that ancient peoples found essential for maintaining psychological balance and spiritual health within the larger context of cosmic existence. The mathematical principles encoded in pyramid alignments, the golden ratio, pi, and other cosmic constants, continue operating throughout nature and human experience, appearing in flower petals, seashell spirals, architectural proportions, musical harmonies, and artistic compositions that please our aesthetic sensibilities. This suggests that the cosmic mathematics that fascinated ancient builders represents universal principles that remain as relevant today as they were thousands of years ago, available for anyone who develops sensitivity to numerical relationships and geometric patterns that connect human creativity to cosmic harmony. Perhaps most beautifully, the spiritual insights that motivated stellar alignments, recognition that consciousness participates in cosmic intelligence, that earthly existence gains meaning through connection to eternal principles, and that human beings naturally seek transcendence of ordinary limitations, remain as true and important today as they were in ancient times. Despite all our technological advances and cultural sophistication, we still find our deepest satisfaction through connection to something greater than individual existence, still feel most fully human when aligned with principles that transcend temporary circumstances, and still discover our most profound sense of purpose through participation in stories larger than personal biography. The pyramid builders' understanding that human consciousness belongs to cosmic consciousness, that earthly life represents temporary expression of eternal intelligence, and that physical existence offers opportunities for spiritual development remains as valid and transformative today as it was thousands of years ago. Their monuments continue pointing towards stellar destinations not just as historical curiosities, but as ongoing invitations for contemporary souls to recognize their own cosmic nature and spiritual potential. The fact that these ancient monuments continue inspiring wonder, reverence, and spiritual reflection into people from every cultural background and educational level suggests that cosmic connection represents a universal human need that transcends historical circumstances and remains as essential for psychological well-being today as it was for ancient peoples who lived much closer to natural rhythms and stellar awareness. Your own capacity for cosmic wonder, spiritual longing, and transcendent experience connects you directly to the consciousness that created stellar alignments, making you a contemporary expression of the same cosmic intelligence that has been seeking to understand itself through human awareness since consciousness first awakened under starlit skies. As we prepare for the peaceful conclusion of our journey together, we'll discover how these timeless truths about cosmic connection can guide your own relationship with the infinite night sky that spreads its ancient wisdom above you every evening. As we approach the gentle conclusion of our cosmic journey together, imagine yourself slowly settling into the most peaceful sleep under a clear desert sky, where thousands of brilliant stars shine with the same loving light that watched over pyramid builders as they worked through countless nights to create their monuments of eternal connection. The air is soft and warm, carrying the faint scent of desert flowers and the profound silence that only comes when human consciousness prepares to merge with the vast quietude of cosmic space. Above you, the familiar constellations wheel slowly across the heavens in their ancient dance, each star a gentle beacon that has been offering the same comfort, guidance, and wonder to sleeping souls for thousands upon thousands of years. Tonight, as you close your eyes and begin to drift into restorative sleep, you carry with you the beautiful knowledge that your dreams will unfold under the same cosmic canopy that inspired humanity's greatest achievements in astronomical architecture. The stars that guided the alignment of sacred pyramids will watch over your sleeping consciousness with the same loving care they provided to ancient builders who understood that stellar light carries not just physical illumination, but spiritual nourishment that feeds the deepest aspects of human awareness. Your rest becomes part of the eternal human tradition of sleeping under starlight, participating in the cosmic rhythm of consciousness that flows between waking awareness and the mysterious realm of dreams where earthly and celestial dimensions meet in perfect harmony. The mathematical precision, spiritual wisdom, and cosmic perspective that we've explored together tonight will continue working gently within your subconscious mind as you sleep, like stellar light that travels through space for years before finally reaching Earth to offer its gift of illumination. The insights about ancient astronomical achievements, the appreciation for human potential that transcends technological limitations, and the recognition of your own cosmic nature will settle quietly into your awareness like sediment of starlight that enriches the soil of consciousness. These understandings don't require conscious effort to integrate. They will naturally find their proper places within your worldview as you rest, just as stars naturally find their positions in the cosmic order through gravitational harmony rather than forced arrangement. Your dreams tonight might carry you back to ancient Egypt, where you stand beside dedicated astronomers as they track stellar positions with patient devotion, or perhaps you'll find yourself walking through pyramid passages that open toward brilliant constellations waiting to welcome earthly consciousness into cosmic embrace. You might dream of flying among the stars themselves, experiencing firsthand the stellar destinations toward which ancient monuments point with such unwavering precision. Or your dreams might simply be touched by a deeper sense of peace and cosmic connection that comes from understanding your place within the vast, beautiful story of consciousness exploring itself through countless forms across infinite space and time. The pyramid builders who inspired our exploration tonight understood something profound about the relationship between sleep, dreams, and cosmic consciousness. That the sleeping mind naturally returns to its celestial source, that dreams provide opportunities for direct experience of the stellar realms toward which their monuments point, and that peaceful rest under starlight offers healing and wisdom that daylight consciousness cannot access through ordinary means. As you settle into sleep tonight, you participate in this ancient tradition of cosmic dreaming, allowing your consciousness to expand beyond the boundaries of individual existence and merge temporarily with infinite intelligence that guides stellar movements and cosmic evolution. The lessons about patience, precision, collaboration, and cosmic perspective that flow from pyramid astronomy will continue enriching your waking life in subtle but meaningful ways, helping you approach challenges with greater equanimity, pursue goals with more sustained dedication, and maintain awareness of the larger context that gives meaning to daily activities. The recognition that human consciousness naturally seeks connection with eternal principles will encourage you to trust your own spiritual longings and cosmic curiosity as essential aspects of authentic human development, rather than optional luxuries or abstract philosophical interests. Perhaps most importantly, Your new understanding of humanity's ancient relationship with stellar wisdom will help you recognize that you belong to a cosmic story that extends far beyond individual biography or immediate circumstances. When difficulties arise or life feels overwhelming, you can remember that you're part of an intelligence that has been successfully navigating cosmic challenges for billions of years, that consciousness itself represents the universe's way of understanding and appreciating its own beauty, complexity, and infinite creative potential. The stars that watch over your sleep tonight have witnessed the rise and fall of countless civilizations, the birth and death of billions of individual lives, and the slow evolution of consciousness through forms beyond human imagination. Yet they continue shining with the same steady light, offering the same comfort and guidance to every soul that looks up with wonder and recognition. Your own small but precious consciousness adds its unique note to the cosmic symphony that plays eternally across the vast spaces between stars, contributing to the universal story of awakening awareness that gives meaning to all existence. Sleep peacefully tonight knowing that you rest under the loving gaze of ancient friends who have watched over human dreams since consciousness first awakened to cosmic wonder, and who will continue offering their gentle light to guide future generations toward understanding, wisdom, and spiritual connection that transcends all temporary circumstances. And so, we come to the peaceful close of our starlit journey together through the magnificent mystery of how ancient pyramids align perfectly with the eternal dance of stars overhead. As you settle into your own cozy bed tonight, perhaps you'll feel a quiet sense of wonder and gratitude for the incredible legacy left by those ancient builders who understood that human consciousness naturally belongs to cosmic consciousness, that earthly monuments can create lasting bridges to stellar wisdom, and that the same mathematical principles governing planetary motions also guide the deepest harmonies of spiritual experience. Remember that the stars watching over your sleep tonight are the exact same celestial companions that inspired pyramid alignments thousands of years ago, offering you the same opportunities for cosmic connection, spiritual inspiration, and transcendent perspective that nourished ancient souls who recognized their place within the vast cosmic story. Whether tonight brings you dreams of flying among constellations, peaceful rest that aligns your consciousness with stellar rhythms, or simply the deep restoration that comes from sleeping under infinite starlight, trust that your cosmic nature will receive exactly the nourishment and guidance it needs most. As you drift off to sleep under the same eternal stars that guided ancient builders toward their greatest achievements, carry with you the beautiful knowledge that you too participate in cosmic intelligence, that your consciousness adds its unique and precious note to the universal symphony of awakening awareness. Thank you for joining me on this gentle exploration of stellar wisdom and human potential. May your dreams be filled with starlight, cosmic wonder, and the profound peace that comes from recognizing your eternal connection to the infinite cosmos. Sweet dreams, dear stargazer, and may you always remember your place among the stars.